Ontario town calls on Ford to clean up poop on beach saga. It's high time, Canada, cruise ships GHG. Make it a huge fine and enforce it. Not that hard. Donkwix 0 Tetaflaming 0, 501. Start posting the offender's picture, video on social media. Shame them. Express_Explorer_366. 707. Went camping a couple of weeks ago and found shitty toilet paper all through the woods around my campsite. It was the first time I've ever experienced anything like that. Had a talk with the park warden, and they said they've been seeing it more often. Tupac Baba Ganoush. 120. Pretty easy to stop this, just make a $2,000 fine to poop on the beach. Mr_Dog 319, 95. If you see a beach with a no tent rule, this is why. Randy Marshy H. 249. Designated. Pepalokek, 102. Canada's Summer McIntosh wins women's 200 meters individual medley gold. Canada, go forth 1457. Ridiculous. Absolutely stole it in the last 25 to 50 meters. Guess we know our flag bearer now. Boulderon 90. 522. 4 gold for Canada, 3 of them for McIntosh. Aggressive resist 921, 262. 17 years old folks, Rukatahuka, 332. Ledecky Phelps level talent. We may not see a Canadian like this again for a long time. Brave Taylor. 238. McIntosh becomes the first Canadian athlete ever to win 3 gold medals at an Olympics. And the first Olympic champion in women's 200 meters individual medley. Crazy. Kawaii_Titan 1507. 54. Smashed it in the last 50 meters. Wazzy 19, 26. Canada's major cities are rapidly losing children, with Toronto leading the way. Canada. Difficult Yam 1347. High housing prices and rents significantly impact family formation, causing many to delay or forego children because they cannot afford to house children. Research shows a 3 to 4 year delay in first births. https:/www.ncb.nlm.nih.gov/pmc/articles/pmc 4685765/https www.econstore.eu/bitstream/104199/95429/1/737808942.pdf. Difficult Yam 1347. 1. We ate the future to feed the past. Nearby Poetry 5060. 1. I passed through Toronto this weekend and decided to take a walk through parts of Little Italy and the Annex in the late evening. Those quiet side streets lined with Victorian semis and huge shade trees are some of the most beautiful neighborhoods in our entire country, in my opinion. I thought to myself, how lucky someone would have been to grow up as a kid between the 70s to 90s in one of these old homes immersed in that vibrant, diverse community Toronto was. Regardless of your economic status, you would have been fortunate to be there. It makes me sad that this experience has been taken from middle and working class Canadians. It is obvious by the quality of finishes of these renovations you see, and knowing the values of the homes, that this is an area strictly for the wealthy and elite, with rare exception. I imagine there is a fraction of the amount of kids roaming these streets today compared to previous decades. It appears all the kids were replaced by Uber Eats drivers on e-bikes. It's the people that make a place in the end. That's how I think Toronto has changed. OK_interest 5767. 1. Why have children when the government can easily import ready-made adults? The elites in this country have no interest in the average person being able to have children. In fact, they prefer to skip the 20 years it take to raise a person and bring in adults instead. YOLO 24/7. 1. No kidding, it's unaffordable to live in them. XA0, Verdasuno, 1. Nobody is going to raise children in a shoebox condo. XA0, Civis Vois Moi, 1. More than 300 Canadians filing for bankruptcy each day as insolvency filings hit 4-year high. Canada. Go MX 808-0. Removed, 285. According to the Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy, OSB, there were 35,082 consumer insolvencies during the quarter, which include consumer proposals and bankruptcy filings. The last time insolvencies were this high was before the pandemic. The report comes as Canadian households struggle to make ends meet amid higher living expenses. You've got all these chunks coming out of your budget, said Andre Bolduc, a licensed insolvency trustee and chair of the CAIRP. Something's got to give. So people are using more credit. Balances are going up. They're making more minimum payments. Go MX 808-0. 94. I had to file bankruptcy after closing my business. Don't worry. I paid all staff and small businesses I hired to help with closing up the space. I know it's controversial, but bless bankruptcy laws in Canada. Such a relief to get a clean slate. Waxing the world. 178. No one has any extra money anymore. It starts to spiral, hitting every part of the economy. You can't sell your product to a public that's broke. Late-stage capitalism. 29. At least two things need to get fixed quickly. The out-of-control grocery costs, which the US is tackling now, and housing. Rent is too high and we're starting to see interest rates come down for mortgages. A lot of people were irresponsible with the interest rates during COVID. It wouldn't be 1.5 to 2% forever, and when you have a $700K mortgage, 2% versus 4.5 to 5% renewal rate hits hard. You can also have a bad string of luck or lose your job, etc. But I think groceries and shelter are definitely the toughest go right now. WTF Man 1988. 1. Liberals borrow weird tactic from Democrats in latest attack on Pierre Poilievre. Canada. Sleipnir 45. We need a whole new centrist party. Sufficient_rub_2014, 1. Oh great. The further Americanization of our politicians. There was a time when prime minister candidates would actually argue on television about who was the least American, and the accusation that the other was behaving in an American manner being the insult. https www.youtube.com/watch v=gyjrmm7rdy. Now it's a race to see who can behave more American. I am so ashamed of our politicians. But I dunno. Maybe that OL Canadian patriotism is dying out. Salarnen. 1. They should borrow the Dems' tactic of current president dropping out of next election. Jeering Dragon. 1. Greater than after the opposition leader accused him of admiring communist dictatorship, he did. It's on video. It's not an allegation when there's video footage. Starving_carnivore. 1. Sigh. Isn't it also weird to hold on to power when you are grossly unpopular and most people hate your policies? Isn't it weird to allow endless immigration when people can't afford a home? I could go on. Pepperloaf 197. 1. Super weird to be informed by your own spy agency that Chinese spies have infiltrated your party. Super weird to be informed that 2 Chinese scientists have stolen materials from a top-secret lab. Super weird to obstruct your own speaker in releasing those facts. Super weird to not cooperate with multiple police investigations into Chinese spying. Super weird to appoint your family friend to review these allegations. Tell everyone there is nothing to see here. Yet, when a judge reviews the same material, totally contradicts that friend's findings. Super weird to be so well informed about Chinese acts against Canada's interests that you send them a pile of money to co-develop a vaccine for a disease they unleashed on the world and then pretend to be surprised when they keep the money and don't follow through with the research. Super weird to learn there are active traitors in the House of Commons and Senate and then take a summer vacation, as the little people are left to sort it out. What I find really weird is that Poiliev, or anyone would be interested in inheriting this mess. Foodraith. 1.